Disney's Lorcana Into the Inklands is here. In this video covering the release, we're going to jump right into the Amber and Emerald starter deck. Now, right off the bat, you can see that our two main characters here are going to be Pongo and Peter Pan. It's Amber and Emerald. You can see the deck listing here, and with the little mark there, you can see what is and is not. Kind of comes from a previous set. So, looking right at it, looks like the only cards that come from a previous set in this one is 2 Hypnotize and 3 Improvise. So we got some discard going on in this deck already, I can see from those. Or I guess discard from Hypnotize, Improvise gives the +1 strength and drawing a card. On the back here, you can see they're showing off the 2 location cards that are going to be a part of this deck, and I'll get into those cards, and let's see, you know, since locations are the brand new mechanic with Into the Inklands, how they work with the cards that are in the deck, and how good they are in general. That's something already different. Yeah, it's because it's already, I can see, slightly packaged differently with that is. Like that. Get that off to the side there. We got our deck there. We'll go over that last, or I guess last we'll get into our pack, see what we got in there. But to start off, we got some quick start rules here, which, you know, includes all the basics, gives you some information on locations there. Oh, it looks like this is just a straight up booklet. It doesn't fold out or anything. Okay. Just kind of all that information you kind of get off this here. Yeah, the basics for anything that you need to do to learn how to play, which is good for a starter deck and starting off on learning how to play. You also have your uniquely colored kind of mat here for playing. You know, you got your damage counters, the lore counter, which you'd use to kind of tally up your lore. For this mat here, you know, definitely very visually distinct from the first 2 set ones, which are very similar in color. And as I stated previously, got some damage counters and the lore counter. That's part of the package. We'll put that off to the side. Keep them together. Alright, now to get into the heart of it, though, is the deck itself. So, let us waste no time on opening this up. But we're going to have the Pongo and Peter Pan. So let's just go over these cards right off the bat. We got, once per turn, you may pay 2 ink to reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character card, you put it into your hand. Otherwise, put it at the bottom of your deck. So it's interesting. If you have the extra ink to do it, might as well. You know, Amber usually is a swarm deck, so, you know, you'd rather use that ink to play cards. But, it is good to get more cards into your hand, so kind of unique way of drawing now that I think of it. You can basically draw a character card if you pay ink instead of, you know, playing a card to let you draw a card, essentially. And then we got Peter Pan here, so once per turn, when this character moves to a location, you gain lore equal to that location's lore. So, you have to pay the ink to move him to a location, but essentially, you know, if you have some, you know, free ink to do, and locations to be had there, especially if you have locations with more than 1 lore, just moving him there to gain the lore from that location is going to be quite useful. Let's see how that works with this deck, though. So first off, I'm guessing we're going to have a lot of Dalmatian puppies here. So we got 1. So I guess we're going to have 5. A, B, C, D, and E. Right? Exactly that. Yep. So we got the 5 different Dalmatian puppy cards that there are in this deck. And this is unique to this set so far, where you have, you know, same number, it's card number 4, but you got A, B, C, D, E. Looks like we got 2 of your standard Kitas, or more than 2, we got 3 here. Got another Dalmatian here. Like, it's very similar, I guess, to how set 2 had kind of like a lot of dwarves that you just got in Amber. Probably gonna be a lot of Dalmatian cards. Besides the Perida, which is legendary. We got Nani here. And I guess first to go over the lucky card here. When you exert him, you can reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may put each character card with 2 ink, or with cost 2 or less into your hand. but the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Whenever this character quests, if you have 4 or more characters in play, your other characters get +1 lore this turn. So, you know, it works well with the puppies here, which are all cost 2. And, you know, even these Kitas, which are cost 1, where you could put them into your hand. And then, like, you know, since you're getting a lot of low-cost cards, getting them out there, if you have 4 or more, they can basically gain more lore, which is pretty cool. We have Nani here, who's the protective sister. We're getting 2 of her, which is, you know, a decent bodyguard to have. No really other special abilities, but, you know, kind of the higher cost bodyguards as you get up there, the least useful they are because of how much they cost compared to having, like, especially in Amber, a Simba, which is 2 cost. We got Patch here. We got how many? 3. So even more Dalmatians here with the patches. And if you exert him, you can get give a character -2 strength until the start of your next turn. We got our next rare here, which is a Pluto card. We'll see if we get any Plutos we can shift onto and kind of what they are with this deck. But you shift 5, a bodyguard. And at the start of your turn, you can remove up to 3 damage from this character. So, you know, a very, you know, compared to like Nani, you know, you can both get them out there on turn 5. They're both inkable. He has a really great ability where, you know, he takes damage and you can be healing it up. And, you know, speaking of, there we go. Here's the 3 Plutos, I'm guessing. Oh, yeah, 3. That you'll be able to shift that one onto. Very unique. You know, it's a 1-cost uninkable card. When you exert him, you can pay 1 less for the next character you play this turn. You know, kind of like the Lantern, you could say, but it's a character instead of an item card. You know, no strength. So, you know, not, you know, totally worth challenging from other people. But good for getting characters out there, and you can just play him, leave him there, shift onto with that Pluto. Be interesting to see if we get a inkable Pluto that we can shift onto, though. We got Rolly here, another Dalmatian. Looks like we got 3 of him. And he's just got support, 3 and 3. We got our Tinkerbell here, which is uninkable. And when you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character card and put it into your hand. Put the rest of the bottom of your deck in order. So it seems like already a lot of these cards have to do with getting cards into your hand. Before, you know, we saw cards that usually, oh, you can play them. You know, reveal the top cards and play them for character cards at least. But this does fit with Amber's theme, especially with the song cards of, you know, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. And either whether it be a song or a character based off of the song that you played that can do that. Add them to your hand. So we got some more uncommons with 3 Wendy Darlings here, which is just, you know, a good low-cost card, very similar to the LeFou that you get. That's 2 cost, inkable, and is, you know, gives you 2 lore there. And here we go, we get 2 of the location cards of Neverland. So Neverland doesn't have any, like, special ability, but it is, you know, 1 cost inkable. It has 4 willpower, 1 lore that will passively gain you, and then just cost 1 to move a character there. Okay, for our Emerald cards, we got Cubby here. Looks like we got 3 of him. Let's just kind of push up, exactly. Push these up. Start showing off the Emerald cards here. We got Cubby, which is his ability is whenever this character moves to a location, he gets +3 strength this turn. So it goes from 3 to 6, which would make him pretty good for challenging then. Let's see here. We got 2 of the Dawn Carnage, which is just a good, you know, I guess quite expensive for 5 cost, but evasive, which is decent to have. We got a Flotsam. Be interesting to see if we get a Jetsam in this deck as well. But your character's named Jetsam get +3 strength when you play him. Oh, only 1. Interesting. Only have 1 of that common card. We got Helga Sinclair here for one of our rares. This character is challenged and banished. Banish the challenging character. So very similar to the 5 cost uninkable Cusco in the ability, but, you know, she's cheaper to get out there, but also way weaker. Then we got our Flotsam. So you have to, oh wait, interesting. That was weird. So we do got another Flotsam, 2 of them. It's got divided up by that Helga for some reason. I must have missed the star on the side of the box there, but we do have some more cards here, which does make sense with the Dalmatian stuff going on. But we got 2 horses, which is, you know, it's just a good 3 cost strong card with 4 strength if you need that in a deck of yours. Now, I always found like these high strength but no ability cards kind of useless, but then I started running into the issue of, alright, I have a lot of weak cards that help me ability-wise, but I need something strong out there in case the opponent is playing something I need to deal with. We got this, I think, is a really good card with the Jasper here. Puppy Napping, whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character can't quest during their next turn. It's a good thing to make your opponent have to deal with. And then here we go, we do have the Jetsums, looks like 2 of them, just like we had the 2 Flotsams. And they have an ability as well, where your characters with Flotsam gain ward. So, once again, buffing each other up. We got some Cloud Kickers here for another one of our rares. We got this Robin Hood here, which is just, you know, quite a bit of lore gain you can get out at 6 cost ink. We have a 7 cost Starkey here. Not too hot on that one since it is so expensive, but it is inkable. We got a Wildcat here, which is evasive, and you can exert him to banish a chosen item. So another good way of getting rid of items that isn't just a card, that is, play this card as an action to get rid of an item. Looks like you get 2 of him. Here's more of the duplicate cards, where we have Hypnotized and Improvise. We do have Strike a Good Match, which is draw 2 cards, then choose and discard a card. Song from Mulan, you get 2 of those. And then for the other 2 location, or it looks like we get 3 location cards, we get Deville Manor. It looks like both of the locations that we get in this deck do not give any special ability. It does seem like, however, there are a decent amount of cards in this deck that do have to do with moving to locations. So I'm gonna kind of like pick those out, see how many we got, and also just kind of looking at it as well. This one, nope, nothing to do with locations. The locations only are 1 ink to move a character there, which is pretty good for a deck that's revolved around just moving characters to location. So it actually looks like when it comes to locations, after kind of like double checking all the cards I had here, the only ones that have to do with it is the Emerald cards, with Cubby here and Peter Pan. Now, with the Peter Pan, it is only 1 ink to move him to gain a lore, and then you can quest to gain another lore. This one is for more strength. I was hoping for maybe a few more cards that had to deal with locations maybe in this deck. We do get some decent, they're all 1 cost for the locations you do have, and inkable. But it does seem like you got your standard Emerald cards here, with either being evasive or having to do with the locations, drawing 2 cards, discarding 2 cards. Kind of like these general reactive cards that you can have, like, with Wildcat here, being able to exert him to banish an item. Your Flotsam and Jetsums that combo with each other. The Helga St. Clair here, which is good for that. But when we get to our Amber side here, a lot of Dalmatian cards that, just combo with having low-cost Amber cards. So that's actually something to look for in this deck. Does have a lot of cards that have to deal with cost 2 or less, which I can already see there's a ton of in the Amber there. For characters in Emerald, we didn't really get too many, actually. Kind of just these. So we do have some character cards that do have to do with cost 2 or less, quite a few, which are good. Which does combo with quite a few of the cards that are given in that. So I'd say, overall, as a starter deck, it's pretty decent. I don't think it's nowhere near as good as, let's say, some of the other starter decks that we've had in the past, like the Set 2 Amethyst and Steel deck, which introduced the bounce mechanic, and there's quite a few cards in there that kind of had to deal with that, plus the resist mechanic in it. This one is definitely like toned back, but you do get 5 location cards. Do help support some of the couple of the other cards that you will have. Only 4 of the cards in the deck, it looks like. But quite a few cards that do have to do with just Swarm in general from Amber, which is nice. We get, let's see here, this many duplicate cards from previous sets, which, for someone like me, I already have tons of these since they're, commons and an uncommon. But in terms of how well they work with the deck, draw support, discarding, just generally decent cards to have. Like I said, Jesper I think is pretty good, and then, of course, can be good for, a low-cost, heavy-strength character to get out there quickly. Alright, I did clean up the cards a little bit there just to give me a little bit more space to work with, but let's just see... Oh, that does not want to open that way. Let's just see what we get in our one booster pack that we did get with the starter deck. If it wants to open, that is. There we go. Alright, we got Kakamora, Sir Hiss, Iago, Maid Marian, Gizmo Suit, and Boss's Order for our commons. Our uncommons are Rise of the Titans, Dive Bomb, and Flintheart Glomgold. For first rare card, we have the Sea Witch Ursula. Love the art. The ability itself is okay because of the uninkable thing. We got And Then Along Came Zeus, which is going to be a really good card, just to be able to deal damage and sing it as a song. For our holo, we got the Born Leader Moana, which, funnily enough, is one of the holos in the other starter deck. So, right off the bat, I can tell I'm going to have a duplicate, but still a pretty decent card, especially since it, does come with the starter deck. Alrighty, so in terms of pricing, the starter deck here is $20. Now, it gives you a free, extra pack of cards, so let's say $14 for what comes in the starter deck itself. With the amount of cards you get just immediately, I think makes it more than well worth it. But as a starter deck, compared to the other starter decks, maybe not as useful or as cohesive. I don't really feel like with the the amount of cards, there's only 4 of them in here that are really gonna show off the new locations and whatnot. But still, as a starter deck, some pretty good cards. I mean, Amber just in general is pretty decent with its swarm effects. You can kind of see that with the dwarves from the previous set, and it is cool to get 5 locations for this new mechanic in the game, just to see kind of how they do, and you can build upon it after the fact. So I'd say definitely worth the $20 for a starter deck. In general, maybe just not as worth it as some of the other starter decks that are out there to purchase. And that's everything from the Ambered Emerald starter deck. If you're looking for more videos on Lorcana or, the new release of Into the Inklands, check out the video or playlist here. And until next time, have fun and quest on.